Live from our 7 Tasmania studios, your nightly news with Kim Miller begins now.
Good evening, everyone. The renegade former Liberals who plunged the government into a minority are being pushed to make public whether they've arranged a deal with the party. It comes as Labor rubbishes claims over rumours a number of its MPs could cross the floor over the stadium stoush.
A week on from the shocking announcement that sent the Liberals camp into chaos, unanswered questions are being fired off from political opponents.
We're calling on John Tucker and Lara Alexander to be upfront with Tasmanians about what, if anything, they've agreed with Premier Rockcliffe to help prop up his government.
Upon their resignation, John Tucker and Lara Alexander pointed to a lack of transparency in the government. The Greens leader is now urging them to stand by their word.
We can't be having here a secret deal to cover up a secret deal over the stadium.
A spokesman for the two new independents says the pair will be making a comprehensive statement in due course, which should satisfy public interest in recent events, as the Premier insists any deals made will be brought into the public sphere.
Any arrangements that we make, of course, we'll make public, and I've had productive discussions with John and Lara all through the week.
With a no-confidence motion in his leadership looming, senior ministers are backing in Jeremy Rockcliffe as the man for the job.
Jeremy Rockcliffe is a fantastic Premier. We're very lucky to have him. I have absolute confidence in him, as does our team, and the Parliament should as well.
The prospect of Labor MPs crossing the floor over the stadium debacle has been shot down by the Shadow Sports Minister.
I'm not going to give that much airtime. It is absolute rubbish. When it doesn't happen, that will reflect on the person that is saying that.
The return to the chamber next Tuesday set up for another fiery display in Tasmanian politics. Grace Evans, 7 Tasmania News.
Environmental groups from across Tasmania and the nation have joined forces to help save the Maugean skate in Macquarie Harbour. The fish is now under threat and advocates believe salmon pens are to blame. They're pleading with the state government to intervene immediately before it's too late.
Has to happen now. No more investigations. Has to happen now because it is critically endangered.
The Premier says the government recognises the uniqueness of the species and work is being undertaken to ensure its protection. Hundreds of Tasmanian kids have used their feet to get to class as part of the annual Walk Safely to School Day campaign. Federal Education Minister Jason Clare joining his state counterpart and dozens of Lindisfarne primary school students and parents. The event aims to promote regular exercise and safety when near traffic.
We need families and young people to know about crossing roads safely. We need drivers to be aware, they need to be looking out.
Stopping if there's any cars and looking both ways. I think it's pretty fun and good exercise.
The campaign is now in its 24th year. Tasmanians are being asked to dig deep this winter, with Vinnie's launching its annual appeal. Demand for the charity's services are reaching record highs, while a popular meal support program looks for a new place to call home.
It's a cruel twist for those offering hot meals to the community. The Green Bean Cafe in Launceston now left out in the cold.
Which is devastating, absolutely devastating. I'm absolutely heartbroken.
Told to find a new place to dish up on Friday nights as it faces a surge in demand.
We've run out twice and we've never seen that. It's not just homeless. We get families who, can't afford to eat.
Paul and his family volunteer their culinary delights and weekly chats, seeking a warm and welcoming spot in the city's heart.
It's nice for them to sit down, forget about the pressures of life. As long as they leave with a smile, we're happy.
They're not the only ones looking to help out this winter, with Vinnie's hoping to raise $250,000 for those who need it most.
Across every corner of Tasmania, we've seen an increase in requests for support.
The rising cost of living and lack of housing supply and affordability adding extra strain as the colder months approach. With concerns women over 55 are increasingly reaching out desperate for a helping hand.
They've got no money, so there's the anxiety and so forth of not being able to buy enough food, or you can't put petrol in the car.
With hip pockets tightening across the state for some, Vinnie's recognises that a financial contribution might not be the best fit, instead accepting other items to give comfort to Tasmanians doing it tough.
There's scope to provide food, donations of clothing, blankets, all of those items that are fundamental to daily life.
Doing everything they can to make a difference. Victoria Easto, 7 Tasmania News.
One of Queenstown's most iconic buildings has gone on show at the Venice Architectural Biennale. The Empire Hotel's outline has been reproduced almost to full scale in the festival's Australian Pavilion. It's made out of copper pipe, a material the town is famous for producing. Named the Unsettling Queenstown, the exhibit hopes to draw attention to the legacy of colonialism. The event runs until the end of November. Well, Pit Lane is chock-a-block at Symmons Plains, ready for the Gen 3 Supercars to race for the first time in Tasmania. They were hard to spot out at the track today as drift cars smoked them out of sight.
Talk about a slipstream. Smokey and all the bandits hit the track today, making sure there was a little more wear and tear on the tarmac for the Supercars this weekend.
Really looking forward to going racing here this weekend. I think we're going to see a whole lot of action.
Bryce Forward is in the unmissable Chevrolet Camaro, switching from the now flatline Holden. He says the new Gen 3 cars have levelled the playing field between teams, meaning there's more focus on driver skill.
There's some people all up and down all over the place while we're trying to work these cars out, and whilst everybody's learning at a very fast pace, they are still very new, so we're all learning a lot.
Tim Slade is learning the ropes in a new team too, having signed with New Long Racing for this season. It's the veteran's 13th year at the track.
You're fairly busy throughout the lap, and you get into a good rhythm in the race.
As the cars were tweaked to perfection and everyone said hi to Adam, organisers brace for a bumper crowd to mark the 50th year of touring car racing at the track.
Goes live to over 300 million people globally, so all eyes are on Tasmania.
While one of the monsters of the track, Cam Waters, is hoping to write his name into the record books.
Super close in qualifying, so you can't make any mistakes, and the racing's always pretty good.
Plenty of hot laps await. Tom Johnson, 7 Tasmania News.
Young and underprivileged Tasmanians are getting behind the wheel of an initiative teaching them responsible road habits. The RACT is distributing 100 free driving lessons to not-for-profit organisations like Kennelly Children's Homes, helping our youth develop essential life skills.
It's going to help me get to walk or get to school and get to my family.
Mike is a shining example of resilience in a system that doesn't really have support factors, particularly around driver care for young people.
It's hoped the lessons will help keep Tasmania's road toll down, with RACT statistics revealing young drivers are 25% more likely to be involved in a crash or fatality. 2 tourism businesses have more room to grow, housing their aviation equipment in a much bigger and better facility. The build is another boost to Tasmania's industry, with visitor spending through the roof.
Touching down at a new location, this specky seaplane is one of many moving into a freshly built hangar. The space will be home to Tasmanian Air Tours, as well as Above and Beyond Tasmania, the state's only commercial seaplane operation.
It allows us to grow with more space, so we can. We've got another seaplane coming, so it allows us to house that, keep it out of the weather.
It provides us with a really stable base and a really professional interface for tourism clients as well as students. We've got great training facilities here, dedicated training rooms.
The new walls helping staff meet high demand.
We've got a lot of businesses in regional Tasmania. It can be difficult for the visitor, with the limited time they have here, to get out there and visit as many attractions as they can. So this gives them the ability to see more.
We're certainly seeing a lot of tourists that want to access experiences quickly and get the views along the way, and allows us to collaborate with the likes of Bangor, Frogmore Creek, Pump House Point.
Located in Cambridge, the hangar is built for Tasmanians by Tasmanians using Tasmanian materials, including hydrowood salvaged from Lake Pyman. The state government supporting its build through the $50 million Tourism Development Loan Scheme.
For the 12 months to March, we had some $3.8 billion of tourism and visitation spend, and that is a record.
With hopes visitor numbers will soar to new heights on their way to recovering from COVID. Brianna Boylan, 7 Tasmania News.
Tasmania's Catholic high schools have come together to help students learn more about life after graduation. The inaugural Careers Showcase giving young people the chance to speak to industry professionals. Representatives ranging from the Defence Force to Microsoft, and dozens of local businesses, all sharing insights into future pathways.
Sometimes they do know what they want to do, sometimes they don't. So, giving them that opportunity to explore different avenues of where they can go.
You get a deeper understanding of what you can and can't do. I find you have more people with more expertise.
The event attracting more than 2,000 students. A Tasmanian teen will have the chance to represent the nation after receiving a generous donation. Nate Ackley will travel to Germany for the World Dwarf Games later this year to play basketball for Australia.
Getting the chance to shoot for the stars. Born with dwarfism, Nate Ackley has been hooked on basketball since being introduced to it by a friend at school.
He was playing basketball, so I decided to try it for school, for him.
The decision to switch from soccer a slam dunk. Nate will represent Australia at the World Dwarf Games in Germany this July. While excited, the daunting cost of travelling proved a challenge.
The trips to the mainland, because he's been 4 times, would have equated to probably more than the Germany trip, to be honest. So all up it's been around the $20,000 mark.
We've done raffles and heaps of stuff like that.
The heavy burden made easier by the Carbine Club, which raises funds to support the sporting dreams of Tasmanian children. After hearing his story through Triple M Hobart's breakfast program, the group have donated more than $3,000 to the cause.
He fitted the bill for what we do, supporting youth to pursue their elite sporting dreams perfectly, so it was a no-brainer.
It was very good. I'm very thankful for them to support, because it was very hard to try and fundraise for it.
Also helping take the pressure off his parents.
Huge. It means now that we can actually just sit back and enjoy the journey.
The St Virgil student is currently focused on shoring up his career, aiming to become a mechanic, but he's eager to hit the court later this year.
It means a lot. I'm very excited to go represent my country, so it's very exciting.
John Hunt, 7 Tasmania News.
Some of Tasmania's most selfless citizens have been recognised for their valuable contributions to the community. Government House hosting the 2023 Tasmanian Volunteering Awards, with nominations across 10 categories, including youth and emergency services volunteers.
I got nominated by one of my patients and it was incredible. I helped out off duty in my pyjamas and they were really touched that I cared.
A lot of highlights are just people, after we have helped them in different ways, of them coming back and telling us how grateful they were, and get a real buzz out of that.
The finalists saying they're just grateful to be recognised. The voices of our next generation of stars have filled Launceston's Princess Theatre foyer as part of the Australian Musical Theatre Festival. 9 emerging Twinkle Town talent swapping the bright lights for a more intimate setting. Providing some lunchtime Friday fun for the passing crowds, eager for a glimpse of the next best thing.
I can honestly say, if these kids were around when I was starting out, I probably wouldn't have had the career I've had. They're amazing, amazing.
There's plenty of entertainment for local theatre buffs over the weekend, with the festival running until Sunday.
In the TSL, Kingborough will return from the bye fresh and ready to tackle the next stage of the season. A fortnight after defeating reigning Premier Launceston on its home turf, the first place Tigers face second place Clarence in a blockbuster clash. Despite their blistering start, the coach is taking it a game at a time.
You can't get too far ahead of yourself, but you also can't get too high or can't get too low when you know sort of the bumps in the road are going to come at some stage.
North Hobart, meanwhile, is hoping to get reward for effort when hosting North Launceston.
Every game we play, I think we're in it. We have a chance to win the game. So another step this week. They're probably one of the best sides going around at the moment.
And the first bounce is at 2 o'clock tomorrow. Some sublime skill from Hobart hockey-roo Madison Brooks has helped the Aussies beat India in Adelaide. She squared the ball for Courtney Chanel, who whacked in the hockey-roos' 4th goal of the game.
Oh, there's the tomahawk, and that is an elite finish.
The Aussies won 4-2 to take a 1-0 lead in the series. Supercars frontrunner Brodie Kostecki says he has plenty of faith in retaining his championship lead. Drivers stepped away from the steering wheel to direct traffic at Symmons Plains. They also had a go at checking bags before things go up a gear in tomorrow's racing.
You know, we have a fast car, so yeah, I have a lot of faith in the team, and yeah, I'm sure we'll have a strong weekend.
Qualifying starts just before 1, then the lights go down for Saturday's race at 3:50. And this weekend marks a special milestone for Symmons Plains. It's the 50th touring car or supercars event held at the venue. Although we don't have vision of the very first in 1969, tonight's Friday Flashback is to our earliest coverage on film back in 1977. 1977, the year Tasmania had quite possibly its very first drink driving campaign, and when the state was hurriedly preparing for a royal visit.
Our city fathers have been making sure that everything is well in hand.
It was also the year racing royalty was captured by television cameras at Symmons Plains for the first time. None bigger than legend Alan Moffat in his Ford XB Falcon, which was polished to an inch of its life for the viewers.
I've always enjoyed coming to Tasmania. I wish we had Symmons Plains in Melbourne's backyard instead of having to come across the water every year.
When race day arrived,
up they come with 2 laps to go, and it's Alan Moffat and Colin Bond.
Reigning champion Moffat was eager to leave with some silverware in tow. His Ford flew around the course, roaring down that famous back straight, with the likes of Peter Brock and John Harvey having to make up lost time.
And there's Peter Brock just going into Goodrich Corner now.
A spectacle for the hundreds who packed out the centre of the raceway, something you don't see today. At the finish, the man at the peak of his powers was the runaway champion again.
And there's the checkered flag out, and it's victory to Alan Moffat, Colin Bond in second placing.
Just one of the 50 years of racing at the track, endearing generations of fans to the thrills and spills of motorsport.
Good evening. Hobart 12 degrees, Launceston and Burnie 14, Devonport 13, Flinders Island our top with 15 today as temperatures still struggled. King Island and Low Head 14 degrees, St Helens, Friendly Beaches, Grove, Bushy Park and Strawn all a chilly 12. Lyawini a high of 5, which you couldn't really call high. Extensive low-level cloud over a good portion of the state today, less cloud over the Midlands and Central North. The frontal band and also a confused front and trough heading our way from the west. It's all a bit disorganised there. Some low clouders over southern coastal parts of the country as well. Tomorrow, that weakening front moves our way. A high over the southwest of WA extends a ridge across the nation. Winds tending west to northwest at 20 to 30 knots and up to 35 knots over southern waters with a 4-metre swell. And with the wind blowing, a gale warning has been issued for waters from Tasman Island to Low Rocky Point. A strong wind warning for most of the rest of the coastline from Low Rocky Point to St Helens Point and from Wineglass Bay to Tasman Island. Saturday in Hobart looks like this. OK for a while, a late shower moving in, 4 overnight, 14 the top. 10 for Medina with showers increasing. Launceston a morning frost and partly cloudy afternoon, 14 the high, 14 for Devonport with a shower. Frosty start for Lyawini, -3 to 6 the range. 14 for Burnie with showers, showers for Strawn 13 and for Marrawar 14 degrees. St Helens tomorrow a high of 15 and partly cloudy, Swansea 14. 2 overnight for Orford, 15 the maximum. A windy day through Bass Strait on Sunday with a few showers easing, showers for the west and south. A similar pattern on Monday with fresh and gusty westerly winds, and on Tuesday a shower for the west and south extending for a short time over the north. Sunny weather in Perth tomorrow, showers for Adelaide and Melbourne, a cold start in Canberra. Sunny though for Sydney, Brisbane and Darwin, a frost expected in Alice Springs. Cloud about at the moment, 7 degrees in Hobart, 8 degrees in Launceston, currently in Devonport it's 9 degrees. That's it for me, Kim. Great to see though too that your 1980s skivvies are making a comeback.
Got to stay warm somehow. Thank you, Merv. That wraps up your news for this Friday. On behalf of the entire team, thanks for joining us. Good night.